In today's video, I'm gonna show you guys 6 makeup mistakes that are aging you faster. These are the mistakes that I see women in their 40s and 50s making all of the time. I have someone really, really special. I'm sure you guys already know who this is. This is Lisa J Makeup, and she is in the flesh. It's not even a virtual collab. You're here.
So fun. I'm so excited to be on your channel.
Oh my gosh.
Like a dream come true.
Lisa is an amazing makeup artist. She's super well known online. She's also the owner of BK Beauty, which is my favorite brush line. I talk about BK Beauty all of the time. So we have someone very, very special to teach you guys and to teach me even how to turn something not so great into something really, really great. Let's go.
Makeup mistake number 1 starts with skin. It's not prepping the skin properly. I think this is a mistake that many of us make because it's just so easy to get focused on the makeup and the makeup products that you're using, but your makeup is only gonna look as good as your skin, right? Am I right?
100%. Not prepping the skin is the number 1 mistake.
And that doesn't just mean the moisturizers and products that you're putting on immediately before makeup. It's the whole skincare routine the night before, the week before, especially if you have a big event, if it's a wedding, if you're the mother of a bride, you wanna make sure that you're exfoliating the skin. Exfoliating is so important because it helps remove that top layer of dead skin cells that prevent your skin from glowing. It also creates texture on the skin. So when you lay makeup on top of that texture, it can be really unflattering. So there are a few different ways that you can exfoliate. You wanna share a few of them?
You can get a product like this one. This one's AlumierMD, the Lotus scrub. So you can actually see that there's granules in here. So it almost feels like a face wash, but there are some really heavy, chunky granules in here. And when those granules go on your warm, moist skin, it kind of sloughs off all of the dead skin right on the outside. So this is the way that we always think about exfoliating, but it's not the only way to exfoliate.
Absolutely. Another physical exfoliator that I want to share before we jump into the other is like a skincare tool and device. I love the DermaFlash. Are you familiar with the DermaFlash?
No, okay. Tell me.
It's essentially like shaving your face. You certainly don't need to purchase the DermaFlash for this. You can use little razors, but shaving your face also helps remove that top layer of dead skin cells and
dermaplaning.
The peach fuzz and the hair.
Yes.
Because that can make your makeup look very unflattering. So you want to make sure that you're removing that and just exfoliating and removing that top layer of skin and hair before you apply your makeup.
Yeah, that's something that I've noticed a lot in my clients as well. As we get older, we tend to get some more peach fuzz on the face. Hormonal changes make all of these wonderful things happen. We lose it on our hair so that we can gain it on our face.
I know, that's fair. What is up with that?
But when you're putting your foundation products on top of peach fuzz, you may not even notice the peach fuzz at all, but the foundation's gonna sit on top of it. It's gonna kind of float on top of the peach fuzz, and it's never going to look as flawless and as perfect as it could. So that's an amazing tip, and I'm gonna check out that product.
Absolutely, you just wanna get the skin nice and smooth before applying makeup. There's one other way that you can exfoliate the skin, and that's using a chemical exfoliator, which is basically a chemical that's gonna help exfoliate the skin, and you can find this in many different acids. One of my favorite chemical exfoliators is by a brand called Biologique Research. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't tried that one either.
You gotta try it. It's called the P50 Lotion. And it feels like a toner in consistency, very lightweight, and you apply it on clean skin. You know, when you find products and you immediately notice a difference within just a few days?
Yes.
This is one of those products. I mean, within days, I felt like I had highlighter on my skin because it was just glowing, just naturally. It's really beautiful.
The next mistake that I see a lot of people making is using really heavy, very dense powder foundations on skin that has a little bit more texture, on skin that's a little bit more mature. I understand the appeal of powder foundations for sure. It is so much faster, it is so much easier, but if you choose the wrong powder foundation, the powder foundation that sits heavily on the skin, it's going to do all of the things you don't want it to do. It's going to emphasize your wrinkles, it's going to make your skin look crepey. One of the biggest tips that I can give when it comes to turning back the clock with makeup application, making someone look very, very youthful and very, very radiant, is actually to use more luminous products, okay? So one foundation that I really, really love on mature skin is the L'Oreal True Match Nude. It's a tinted serum, so it's a lighter coverage foundation that's very glowy and radiant. Maybelline has a version as well that's amazing. If you want something more high-end, Giorgio or Armani Luminous Silk is like a favorite amongst the beauty community. These foundations are light to medium coverage and they give you such a gorgeous glow. But I know what you guys are gonna say in the comment section. Gabby, I can't use light to medium coverage because of my age spots. I can't use light to medium coverage because I have more issues with coverage. Well, what you can do is you can use a more luminous radiant foundation and then you can spot correct your age spots. You can spot correct your melasma, your hyperpigmentation, all of the things that you're struggling with. So then you're using a concealer, which is denser, to only cover the areas that need the coverage instead of having this whole mask of really heavy full coverage powder foundation. Now, this is the thing, okay? There are so many things with makeup that ebb and flow, and powder foundation isn't the be all end all evil of the foundation world for mature skin. Certain powder foundations can be amazing for mature skin. So I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about those full coverage, super matte, super drying ones. So Lisa, I know that you talk about powder foundations on your channel all the time. So can you tell us a little bit more about great powder foundations?
Absolutely, yeah. So I recently filmed a video on like busting the myths about powder foundation, because just like you said, a lot of those myths, there's some validity behind them, right? Because heavy powders can accentuate texture. They can look really heavy. They can make the skin look really dry. Talc is an ingredient that is in a lot of heavy powder foundations, and that's kind of the culprit. So when you're looking for a powder foundation, mineral powders are really nice. I personally discovered and fell in love. I have a deep love. I mean, I just can't even talk about it without like emphasizing I love this brand and this product. The Jane Iredale Purepressed Mineral Powder Foundation. In my teens, early 20s, Studio Fix by MAC all day, every day.
It was the staple. Everyone wore it.
When I reached about 32, 33, I was like, okay, it's not really looking that great on me. About a year and a half ago, I stumbled into a store and I met the Jane Iredale rep, and he was telling me all about this, and he was just so charming and so lovely. He could have sold me anything. And so I took this home and I didn't have high expectations, but when I put this on with their primer and their setting spray, I was like, what in the world is this? Is this really powder? Like I'm like touching, I'm like, is this powder? Because it did not look like powder. It looked luminous on the skin. This actually has light reflective properties, so it actually looks luminous on the skin and natural. Absolutely beautiful. So if you are a lover of powder foundations, or you're looking for one that is appropriate for skin in their 40s, 50s, 60s, I have viewers in their 70s who have told me they love this. Give this one a try. It is absolutely beautiful. So makeup mistake number 3 is one I am definitely guilty of making, and I think this is probably one of the most common.
Yes.
Would you agree? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It is applying a concealer that is either too light or too heavy for you, okay? So let's address the lightness first. So I think we gravitate to a lighter concealer because we look in the mirror and we're like, oh, these are dark circles. I need to put something light on it. I always tell people it's like having a bruise and putting white pantyhose. You ain't fooling anybody, you know? You're gonna see a gray cast through that lightness. So it's really best to find concealers that have a little bit of a peach tone to them, or they're deep enough to cover the darkness. You can always go in and brighten with a lighter concealer, but you wanna make sure you neutralize and conceal that darkness first, and you're not gonna achieve that with a too light of concealer.
We also seem to have this thing where it's, I have terrible dark circles, I have really dark circles, so I want that concealer to be too light, and I want that concealer to be very thick. The thicker, the better, the more coverage. That's not true around the eyes, okay? It can be true for sure for hyperpigmentation or for other things around the face, but around the eyes, we have a lot of movement, right? We emote, we squint, we smile, we have a lot of movement. And when we have movement in the face and we have heat, our face is warm, and you have something thick and creamy, that cream is gonna migrate into divots or into little ridges, which means you're going to get very, very creasy, right? So when you get very, very creasy, what do? You powder the heck out of it. And then you end up with something super thick, super light, that's super powdered, and it is a recipe for disaster because then that powder dries it out and then it makes your under eyes look 20 years older.
Oh, right. Like I feel like you see texture you didn't even have before.
100%.
It's like, what's happened? I look better with no makeup.
Yeah, I just did a makeup tutorial with no filter, no skin softening, filmed in 4K. Okay, this is the magnifying glass. I was like, good Lord, this is I'm feeling all sorts of feelings right now, posting this online. And I showed you guys, how to do it the right way. And then I did all those mistakes on the other side. And then I showed you in natural light. And it's crazy. It really brings out wrinkles that you don't even know you had.
Absolutely. One formula that I love, it's a new formula, this is the Slip Tint Concealer. And it's a really lightweight, thin consistency. It just glides over the skin so beautifully and easily. It has a radiant finish. This is one that I would recommend day over day to anyone over the age 40. Have you tried this yet?
I haven't tried that one.
You have to try it.
I've been hearing that it's so amazing.
It really
We're
is.
all gonna go to Sephora later.
It's gonna go in your cart.
It's gonna go right into my cart. Another one that's really, I think, similar, although I haven't tried this one, but the way that you're describing it is the Haus Labs one.
That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, I just discovered that one, and I find that it gives beautiful coverage without being too heavy or thick. It's creamy without being too creasy. It's very, very good as well. So there are so many options, you guys, for concealers that are going to cover up your dark circles, but not do more harm than good.
And just to wrap this up, if you're someone that's been using the same concealer for 20 years, that's definitely a product that needs to evolve over time. So be a little adventurous, try other formulas. You might find one that's actually a better option for you today.
Mistake number 4 is one that it's almost embarrassing that I'm saying this mistake.
I'm gonna raise my hand right now.
Oh, it's so bad. It was my #1 hate comment for like 2 years.
Oh no.
And it's brows that are too dark. Okay, too dark, specifically really dark on the inside. Okay, you do not want Sharpie brows that looks like it's been stamped on the face. It has no powderiness to it, no strokiness to it. It's just one blocky brow. That is just unbelievably unflattering on everyone. Definitely on me.
Completely agree. So I have a funny story about this. I used to be a trainer for MAC Cosmetics. So I would go in the region, I would train all the artists, and I had my boss pulled me aside one time and they were like, I'm gonna redo your brows for you. And she, in a nice, delicate way, basically told me that my brows needed to go. Because it looked like I had stenciled them in,
Yeah.
I do think it was a look at the time, just in my defense. But a stronger brow can look too harsh, and it can really age you and just make you look angry and harsh. I think it's all about creating softness in the features, especially as we age, and the brow is an easy place to go wrong.
Totally. Something that I've really been enjoying lately is using a brow gel. So even using something, I looked down because I thought it was there, but it's not there.
I got one for you. Yeah, this one's great.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Such a good one.
This one is so good. This one is so inexpensive, you guys. This is the e.l.f. I believe it's called the
Wow Brow or Brow Wow.
Brow Wow.
Yeah.
So the cool thing about this is that it's a fibrous gel. So basically you're getting the gel, so you're getting the hair hold, but you're getting these tiny little hair fibers in the formula that's gonna bulk up your own brows. So if your brows are very thin, you're kind of getting some faux hair. It's like the hair extension of the brow world.
It is. Yeah. I have to use that. I have to create the shape with a pencil and then go in with this to create realistic looking hair and volume to the brows.
Totally. And then that just fluffs it up. It really bulks it up. Another technique that I've been using on myself that I've really been enjoying is actually drawing individual hair strokes with a brow pen. So these are really tiny little tip pens. There's one by Melt Cosmetics that I just tried that's really fine and very, very nice. There's one by Glossier that I talk about all the time. So depending on your brow shape, Lisa wants to sketch in her shape and then bulk it up with this. For me, because I have some more brow density, I can just gel them with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Freeze, and then I can go in and sketch hair-like strokes. So there are so many different techniques for brows now, and a stamped on brow, it's not it anymore.
It's gotta go.
It's gotta go.
Makeup mistake number 5 is all around blush placement. So this is a mistake that I made up until a few months ago, to be quite honest, because it's a mistake that I think you get in the habit of how you apply your makeup and you just continue to apply it that way for years, for decades. And that was me, okay? And our face changes as we age, it really does. The facial structure changes, gravity takes in, and things start to kind of fall down a little bit. So we need to raise the placement of the blush. You don't want to apply it too far down on the face. You're just going to bring that attention to that area. I find for blush, I really like to lift the face. I like it to give me a youthful bit of color to the cheek, but also lift the cheekbone. So you want to make sure that you apply it. I like to use the apple of my cheek as a starting point, but then really blend up here to my cheekbone and even kind of blend up into my temple a little, depending on the color that I'm using. right?
Too. That's exactly the same way I do it. And if you see the before and after, and we're going to pop up some before and afters, you guys, it's a drastic difference. Like it really the one side looks like it's been collapsed and the other side looks so youthful. It's incredible that makeup can do that.
Absolutely. And I have been all about cream blushes over the last 5 years. They just light up the face and I really feel like they give a youthful glow to the skin. I love picking a shade that's kind of rosy or peachy pink, something to brighten the face. I think when we go with shades that are too bronzy or dark, what can that do? What do you feel like that does to the face when you?
Yeah, I think what happens with those bronzy tones is because it becomes like a contour tone, it sinks. So it recedes, and instead of doing the thing that we want it to do, which is the exact opposite, we want it to lift. So those dark tones, cool bronzy tones especially, you'll get a complete opposite effect of what you're wanting. So many women sit in my chair and they say, I don't like blush, I don't want blush, only bronzer. And I'm telling you, you're doing a disservice. You don't have to use a ton of blush, but you do want to bring a bit of that color onto the face, especially up here on the cheekbone, like you said.
Absolutely, and you can just use a little. That's what I love about cream blushes, is they can be really sheared out and manipulated to where they're just a tint, or you can build them up if you want more color.
Mistake number 6. Oh, this one hits the nerve because this one annoys a lot of people.
It does, yeah.
Because they want it and they don't want to give it up.
Right.
And it's hard to change. But it's using very, very strong black liner all the way around the eyes. You know, not a smoky eye, not smudging and softening and diffusing, but lining the eyes all the way around in a really harsh and aggressive way.
I feel like this kind of lends into the same idea as the strong brow. It just makes everything look harsh and just a little too stark and harsh and heavy.
Yes.
Right? I personally love to use like a chocolate bronze eyeliner with a little bit of shimmer, right?
Yeah.
Because what shimmer does is it reflects light. So it doesn't, I'm not talking about glittery. It doesn't have to be glittery or metallic. It can be the most subtle sheen, just so that when the light reflects off of your eyes in your eyeliner, it just gives a very soft, very youthful look around the eye. I love shades like Urban Decay Bourbon. That's a really nice one. This one from NYX, this is their mechanical liner, and this is the shade Under the Moonstone, and it's a soft, pretty kind of taupey bronze with a little shimmer.
Yeah, when I'm having a natural makeup day, I wear that NYX liner, and it doesn't give like an over amount of definition, but it brings this sparkle and this light and brightness to the eyes. That's really amazing. One other little tip that I can offer to you guys that doesn't necessarily work on every eye shape and every eye type, but works on a lot of them, is to stretch your liner up in the corners. So if you have a very hooded deep set eye, if you have a lot of heaviness in here, it might be a little bit more difficult to do that. But if you don't, if you have a little bit more space, you can stretch and pull it up and out just a little bit. And that's going to give you the illusion that your eyes are tilting up. It can be incredibly, incredibly flattering.
That's a good one, absolutely. Okay, so those are our 6 makeup mistakes, but we were just talking, we have a bonus tip for you guys, and it's around lips, because we didn't really talk too much about lips yet.
No, we didn't.
You want to share this one?
For those of you who watch my channel, you know that I have a love affair of lip liner. Like my lip liner and I, we have a deep love for one another. It's complicated. So when you are using lip products, okay, lip products are so important. So many people skip them. If you are using a matte lip product that is very nude, there was a time and place, there was a JLo era where it was very in, and we actually used concealer. Did you use concealer?
I never did.
It was a thing. And you know what it does is it wipes out your mouth, and your mouth can actually make you look very, very youthful. So as we age, we also lose our vermilion border, okay? So that kind of ridge around our mouth, it kind of dissipates. So if you use a beautiful lip liner, a nice creamy lip liner, and you recreate the vermilion border, you fill it in with a color that has a little bit more richness. It doesn't have to be bold, doesn't have to be bright, but it needs to have a bit of richness. So it can be nude still, but you know, like a mauvey nude or a pinky nude, something that has a little bit of pigment, and then you add a little bit of gloss, you're going to reverse the clock. It's insane. I've done this technique on women who are in their mid to late 70s, and it is remarkable what a difference it makes to them. Totally. It gives them that youthful mouth. And that youthful mouth just tricks everyone into thinking that, you know, you're 10 or 20 years younger.
I also think we show a lot of texture on the lips. I know I do. And I like a little bit of shine. It doesn't have to be a super heavy gloss, But if I'm gonna use a matte lipstick, I want a little bit of more of a creamy matte formula, something that's just gonna give me a little bit of a sheen to the lips so it doesn't accentuate all the lines that I have on my lips. But interesting enough, I find that really metallic lipsticks or glittery lipsticks look pretty harsh. Would you agree?
Totally.
Right?
Frosted.
Yes, frosted is the word.
Frosted is, it's not good.
It's not. You're trying to be nice. I know, I feel the same way. So I think it's all about giving the lips some fullness, some natural fullness with lining properly.
Yeah.
And then also a little bit of shine, whether that's just a creamier matte or it's a high shine gloss, just giving the lips some shine and some volume.
Yeah, always think about makeup like highlights and contours. We're creating illusions on the face. So shiny things bring forward, it's a highlight. So if you want something to look fuller, you want to add a little bit of light. And so that's why when you add that little bit of gloss, your lips look so much fuller than if they were completely mattified and nuded out.
Totally.
Let me know in the comment section which makeup mistake you guys are making. And if you're making them, don't feel bad, guys. I make them too. I make them currently. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that blush is too low. Now I have one other job for you before you go. I want you guys to go and give Lisa some love. I'm going to link all of her socials. She is so amazing on YouTube. She's so amazing on Instagram. You will learn so much from her. She's a huge source of inspiration for me here on the channel. So don't forget to go check her out and let her know that you found her from this video.
Thank you for having me. This was so fun.
Oh my gosh, thank you for coming. This video's over.